ladies and gentlemen, because Stel City Madness is next.
Yeah, we bring reviews of your house. Talk to our dudes of your house. I bring my views of your house. Wrestling truths of your house. We talk to you in your house. We keeps it cool in your house. We keeps it cool in your house. I'm spitting truths in your house. Yeah. Mark's hating on his fast. Becky Nish on the man. Play with two like alliance. Household a dangerous alliance. I am a diamond like Cody, and I'm overcoming like Kobe. No, they cannot hold me. Come listen, I'm hosting, critiquing, I'm boasting. This wrestling I'm knowing.
Fuck this shit! It's all about podcasts these days.
This is Leo Rush, the NXT Cruiserweight Champion, and you are listening to the In Your House podcast.
This is Austin Theory of Evolve, and you're listening to the In Your House podcast.
This is AEW's Darby Allin, and you're listening to In Your House podcast.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to In Your House, starring Alakan House and my man, the Outcast, Docs. This is the People's Podcast. Hey guys, you already know who it is. It's your boys, Con and Docs, ready to get at work when it comes to this professional wrestling business. That is what we do, and hey, we love it. So let me let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's alright. We're on Google Play, anywhere that you guys are. We can get to you and ooh, where is the clock? I'm checking the time because last time that I checked, In Your House was the hottest professional wrestling podcast in the Midwest, because we hit them with that work round the clock. You guys already know what it is. Oh yes, the director is in your house, and I'm over here with Docs, as I said right now, and we are sitting in right now. It's Monday morning, and it's been a very nice weekend, you guys, as far as weather goes. Loving it. Spring is springing, and I'm personally tired of the cold. But I'll tell you one thing that was not cold at all, and that was this show that me, Hutch, and Docs went to. In fact, it was hot, and that was New Wave Pro. We went to Terre Haute once again, over to the Armory for Stel City Madness, and it was a damn good show. Docs, you went to it for the first time, man. This was your first look at it, bro. What was your thoughts on it, bro? What were you thinking?
Well, you know, right from Jump Street, like I'd heard a lot of hype about New Wave before going into it, and when I showed up there, instantly was not disappointed. Just going to the Armory and seeing that there were already people lined up in advance, ready to go in, rearing for the show, and then getting in there, getting set up to do the podcast and whatnot while we were there. And the arena is beautiful. The Armory itself, the setup that they have with the new stage, the new ramp, the ring itself looks beautiful. Just everything right from Jump Street. The atmosphere was incredible, and as the night went on, it only kept getting better. And it was I had very little negative things to say, and the things I did were just me reaching for straws because people were asking what they could fix, you know?
Exactly. But the reason that they do that at New Wave is because they want to get better. They're constantly getting better. I debuted as their commentator in January, and I can tell you from being there, the progression, Docs, the progression between January and February and now moving into March, it's just exponentially increased every single show, bro.
Oh, I don't doubt it, not one little bit. This is it's one of those few instances, like when the people in charge, Chris Abel, Michael Guest, Donnie Tsunami, Sam Knight, whenever they're asking for opinions on things, it doesn't seem like they're just fishing for you to be like, yeah, man, everything was great, loved it, was a great time, They legitimately want to know how to make things even better. It seems like they actually care about about the perception, whether it's from like the fans or just whoever. Like, they genuinely want to make this as good as they can, and it really comes off that way, and you can tell. I really like that fact. Like, they, after dealing with a handful of promotions that really don't seem like they give a shit, it's a breath of fresh air.
It is.
To actually show that they care.
Exactly, man. And I agree with you there, man. It's the thing that they have every moving part going for them right now, man. Every moving part, whether it be the production is great. The way that they present the show is great. To the talent that put on a great show, to the people that understand storylines, to the people that understand continuity, to the people that understand that people don't want to be treated like idiots, bro. Like, fans don't want to be treated dumb. Like, I understand we live in an ADD society, but people don't want to be treated as such. And one thing that I've noticed from the times that I've been to New Wave is the attention to detail, the attention to story, the attention to content. Every moving part is moving right now. So let me ask you this, Docs. Leading up to the show, were you following a lot of what was going on as far as the social media?
Yeah. Between between doing this and other things that we've done, like, I'm friends with a lot of the people involved on social media, but I do want to point out that has not in any way swayed my opinion on the show. Being friends with them is not the reason I think it's great. And leading up to it, between you and Earl and Chris, Michael, Donnie, between all of you guys, like, I was able to catch up on some stuff very easily. That's another thing they do really well is their social media, posting videos so you could catch up on storylines.
Yeah.
And it really, I'm glad it's that accessible, because it made it easier at the show to understand what was going on, just because, a day or two prior I was able to binge watch a lot of stuff that, I had missed, not being able to go to the first few shows of the year.
Yeah.
And yeah, so keeping up on social media is very easy with New Wave, and it's, like I said, it helps out tremendously if it's your first time going to a show. That way it's not so, you don't feel lost.
Yeah.
And they don't have to spoon feed you every detail. Like, they've got it out there so that you can go and do it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you got to do, man. Content is king. That's one thing that they understand there. Another thing that I wanted to talk about as far as this particular show, and guys, we're putting this all together as a collective series. We're doing a series on New Wave here. So part 1 is going to be with Docs. Then we'll have a part 2. We'll have a part 2 there with Hutch. That'll be coming up. And we also have some sound that we want to play, because we podcasted live for a little bit while we were there. Got some great sound. A lot of great just things moving around there with New Wave. And In Your House is in the loop here and right here in the thick of things, as this promotion is really, really stepping up and taking it to the next level. Now, the quality of talent is another thing that I wanted to talk about here, Docs. This was your first time seeing a lot of guys. There's also guys that you had seen before from calling action over at DCCW. What did you think about the body of talent that was presented there at Stel City Madness?
The depths of wealth that they pull from to get good talent on the show really stands out. Like I said, there's a lot of guys I was familiar with. There's a lot of guys I wasn't familiar with, and no one disappointed. Like, they are it shows that they really want to push younger talent, what's new, what's upcoming, what's going to be hot for the next, 5 to 10 years. There are a lot of guys, there are a lot of people at that show that, you could look at, you could see them work and be like, yeah, I could see them being signed to TV in, a year or two's time. Like, the depth of wealth that they pull from is just, it's phenomenal.
I agree, man. I absolutely agree with that. So let me ask you this. From a fan's perspective, we're just talking from a fan's perspective here, Docs, okay? So what were some guys that stuck out to you as you were watching that show? Give me some names if you can.
It was my first time seeing the High Society, and I thought they didn't actually wind up wrestling, but they had that segment for anyone who's seen the show setting up for Inception next month, and they really stood out to me as being very, very hateable heels, and I love that. And speaking of hateable heels, my star of the show was absolutely Shiloh Greaves. It's my first time actually seeing him wrestle, and I didn't realize that I had seen anything else involving him until you were telling me on the ride home. Like, that guy is just raw talent, like, absolutely. Like, and I've checked out some of his stuff, after the fact just to get more familiar, and man, he's damn good at what he does. Aside from that, you got the names that never fail. You got your Knockout Society, which I've said it many times before, we don't get along, we don't like each other, but they're good. They're good. I respect them, and I'll give credit where credit's due, despite the fact that I think they're a bunch of jabronis. But those names never fail. Sam Knight, and then Joey O'Reilly was really cool to see in the ring. Another guy who I hadn't seen in person before. Yeah. And I know I asked at the show, but I forgot her name again because I'm a horrible person. The girl that came out to Rammstein got yeeted by Justin Kyle at Bizarro.
Yes, yeah. No, hey, that wasn't Justin Kyle, bro. That was Malphus. Malphus, okay?
Oh,
Malphus.
Get
that straight. You gotta get that straight, bro. It was Malphus. But you're talking Holly Cromwell.
Holly Cromwell, yep.
The sorceress, yeah.
This is the second time I've seen her wrestle, and again, she's stood out both times as being really good in the ring, really solid, and knows her character well. Yeah. And I'm going to try to not forget because, like, I felt like an asshole the first time, and I felt like an asshole the second time, but there's just so many names that come flying at us that, like, it's hard to keep up.
It is, but that's Holly Cromwell. She's impressive.
Oh, there's a lot of standout talent at New Wave, both people that, people who are familiar with Midwestern independent wrestling probably already know, and then other people that they're about to know,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was just a great show, man. The show was fantastic, and I have a good time calling the action with my partner there. We'll go ahead and leave him some fruit snacks, man. Why that man hate fruit snacks so much? He hates those fruit snacks. Nah, my man Michael Kirkman. Nah, he's been such a pleasure to work with as far as over on commentary. It's fun working with them, man. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying working with New Wave as their commentator, and to be able to have that sort of access to the talent, that's another thing I want to put over is how accessible all the talent is, because the locker room is so welcoming. There's no, it's not, everybody feels so open, and I was able to go around and collect information from everybody as far as what I needed to be able to properly and respectfully call their action. And it was real open, and it's a great vibe, bro. It's a great vibe all around there. There's, dare I say it, man. And, I'm not saying it just because I'm part of the brand. I'm not just saying that. And if you think I am, it's whatever. I don't care. They may have lightning in a bottle right now, bro. Like,
I don't think there's any might about it, but yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, seriously, bro, you're looking at a promotion that could be a grassroots movement, like cult-like type vibe there in the Armory, like you see your ECWs, like you see your Ring of Honors, that it just becomes its own world. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It would not surprise me one little bit for New Wave to become kind of a modern version of what Ring of Honor started out as. Like, it would not take me off guard by any means. And I do want to give another quick shout to, I think it's the same kid you do commentary with, but putting together that video package at the beginning.
Oh my God, bro! Yes, please talk about that, please.
Like, what'd you say his name was?
Michael Kirkman. I call him Michael Kirkman on the call.
Gotcha. Mike Kirkman does a hell of a job, and I talked to him for a little bit after the show, just because, that whole video production thing's kind of,
goes hand in
what
hand.
I got educated for.
Yeah.
And so I went and talked to him for a bit, and he has zero film schooling whatsoever, and still put together a kick-ass opening promo.
He's
and
amazing. He's really good at what he does.
Having that kind of passion to go and just make yourself learn how to edit, it's a pain in the ass. It's a struggle. That's how I learned most of the shit that I know. Yeah. I know that it's not easy.
Yeah.
So the fact that he did that with zero schooling he really deserves a fucking hell of a lot of appreciation.
Yeah. Man, he's so talented, man. I enjoy working with him. Now, one thing that I talked about the last show, the Battle Lines review that I had with reporter Drake Kennedy. He'll be coming back here soon, guys. You'll be hearing Drake again. But one thing that we talked about was when In Your House comes up. When In Your House comes up in that ring, as far as the sponsorships goes, when they say the sponsorships. Bro, we talked about the pop that they got, that it got when we were there back at Battle Lines, and you weren't there for it. But you were there for this one. So I want to get your opinion being, In Your House faithful. In Your House, from the very beginning, rock bottom, grassroots of what we are and what we've become in the Midwestern professional wrestling scene. An international podcast, bro. International worldwide podcast that's listened to. What were you thinking when you were there at the Armory? And the ring announcer, who's once again amazing, Chris Abel, brought up In Your House, and he put it over to the nines, bro. He showed us that love, but the pop that we got. What were you thinking about that, being a part of the team as long as you've been, bro?
That was such a cool, surreal little thing. Like, Hutch and I were set up over at that little table, and
at our booth.
We heard the crowd reaction, and like I said, we're just off to the side of the booth, and like we just look at each other, and I'm just like, wait, that's us. That's us. We do the thing. We do the thing. And like it was really cool. And like you said, Chris Abel put us over, to the nines, like as you said. And man, that was just one of those things where it's like, I remember when certain ring announcers couldn't get the name of the fucking show right, let alone fucking get a pop from the crowd.
Man, and just that pop, man. The pop, man. I love it. Like, the Armory, the fans there at the Armory, I want to talk about them. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the sponsor real quick. Then when we come back from break, we're going to talk about the Armory itself, the fans within the Armory. How's that, bro?
Sounds good.
All right, awesome. We will be... Hey guys, This is the director, Con House, of In Your House, and this episode is sponsored by Podcorn. Podcorn is a marketplace connecting podcasters to amazing podcast sponsorship opportunities such as host read ads, interview segments, topical discussions, and more. With Podcorn, there is no middleman. Podcasters of all sizes can browse and choose opportunities right on the platform, set their own rates, and collaborate with brands directly without any exclusivities. You never give up any rights to your podcast, and Podcorn is here to support you at every step to ensure you're protected and compensated for the work that you do for brands. The marketplace mission is to give podcasters transparency, creative control, and freedom, and full control of how and when they monetize. So check the show notes on this episode and you will see a link to www.podcorn.com/podcasters. But now it's time to get back to In Your House. Welcome back to In Your House, hosted by the director, Con House, and the outcast of the podcast, Docs. And we are here talking about New Wave Pro, and that was Stel City Madness. And now we are on the other side of that epic event. And what we wanted to talk about, before we went to break, we said we were going to talk about it, and we wanted to talk about the Armory itself, the fans within the Armory. Docs, you were there taking it in, bro. What were you thinking about the fan base, the fans that came out, and their reactions to everything, bro?
Well, my first thought was, how the fuck did they sell out an Armory in Terre Haute, Indiana? Like, that was my first thought.
Yes.
And then, like I mentioned earlier, people were hot, like, before the doors opened. There were so many people lined up just waiting to get in, and then once they got in, like, everyone just seemed so happy to be there, so excited for the show. They reacted to everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, Indiana's not exactly known for having, boisterous crowds. It's a very Midwestern sit-on-your-hands kind of thing. Like, I can't count the times I've been to WWE shows and, like, no one chants or cheers, but, like, the crowd at New Wave was hot. Like, it was very much... like I said, it felt like they were excited to be there, and that they could tell, like, that the crowd at a wrestling show is part of the show, that they are one of the biggest parts. Like, the reactions are how you know what works and what doesn't, and they gave it all back.
Yes. Yes, they did, man. That's the New Wave Nation that we're talking about, man. Great fans. I mean, just great fans. And I really feel like that's exactly why the team there at New Wave want to give them the best possible production. They want to give back to the fans that have been coming and show up consistently just to be a part of the spectacle, the stories, and see everything play out, whether the production is A1 or not so great. But I think that as a team, they see it as they want to invest and make the right moves to give the fans the best possible product that they possibly can. And that's why you're seeing the changes that you're seeing within New Wave, because they are just in tune with what the fans want to see, Docs.
Oh, yeah. And like I said, it shows. Like, New Wave gives back to the fans, and the fans, give their all to New Wave, and, like, it's a very, very symbiotic relationship where one just kind of feeds off the other, and it like I said, it shows. Like, everyone's putting in their all to make this the greatest experience that they possibly can.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, bro. That is exactly what it is. And man, we had a lot of great matches, a lot of fantastic action going on. So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Docs, real quick. I'm going to go ahead and do it, bro. And I want to ask you, if you had to pinpoint one, maybe even two matches, because I think the card was so solid, like picking out one might be hard. So I'll give you maybe two highlighted matches that you just stood out, or segments, but either or, just talk to me.
I would have to say probably the two triple threat matches for the contendership for the Ultra Rapid Championship.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, it's the first time I had seen Shiloh Greaves wrestle, and he was my takeaway of the night.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time I got to see in the second triple threat. The first time I got to see Paragon live, and that guy is another guy that deserves all the credit in the world because goddamn the stuff that he can do. Yep, he just oozes charisma, and like I said, I enjoyed the tag team segment just because I'm a big story guy, and I feel like setting up for the next show is very important, despite the fact that I don't necessarily like all the people involved.
Right. But it's still good shit, though, man. It's still good shit, and they're putting out some great, man. Okay, let me ask you about this though. The end of the night, and by then, I guess we'll have to release it because it's already been released on the New Wave Pro social media, so we can talk about it. I was just thinking, but when Justin Kyle showed up, bro, and he speared Sam Knight, bro, he about cut my man in half.
Yeah, that was brutal looking. Like, I felt that and got a little bit winded. No, that's not just because I'm a fat piece of shit and I'm out of shape. But, like, the impact of that, like, that could not have felt nice. And, I've had my stuff with Sam Knight as well. And so, like, it was kind of a ha 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 ha. I really am glad that's you and not me there, motherfucker.
That's my man Sam. I can't sit. You know how tough it was for me to sit up there and watch my man Sam after a grueling cage match just get destroyed by the takeover Justin Kyle, man. And now he's looking for a title shot now. Justin Kyle is, bro, he almost stole the title. If it wasn't for Earl Joseph, he would have left the Armory with the title, not even officially being the champ.
Would have been a lot better for the championship and for the brand, my friend.
Oh, I totally disagree. You need to get out, okay? Sam Knight is the heart and soul of New Wave Pro. My man, the right hand of God. Sam Knight he's a great champion, man. I don't know what you're talking about, Docs. Usually we agree sometimes, man, but I don't agree with that. I don't at all. But man, it was a great show, man. It was a fantastic show. Now let me ask you this. This was my first time really getting a chance to see and call a Cole Radrick match. What was you thinking when you got to see of what some of the stuff that Cole Radrick can do inside the ring?
Cole Radrick is one of those guys, like I was talking about earlier, where it's like you just know big things are coming for him. Yeah. Like, he's still young, might be a year or two older than me. I don't know how old he is, but, like, he's young, and he's one of those names I'd heard a lot about. Like,
yeah.
So he's already got a reputation. Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, he wrestles everywhere. Like, he goes, isn't it, to, like, the East Coast and wrestles every couple months or whatever. But especially just coming off of, like, a legitimate, like, foot injury, you couldn't tell, like, that he's just so good, so smooth, so clean at what he does. Like, definitely excited to see what he does going forward.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It was just a great night. There at the Armory. Saw a lot of great action. Saw the Crossroads Championship defended as the Big Purse went up against Solomon Tupu for the championship, and that got really ugly really quick. What was you thinking? What were you taking away from that as you were watching that in the crowd?
The Crossroads Championship match. It was a nice step away from, getting too formulaic with the show, I feel, just because, like, it was a differently paced match. Yeah. And I was unfamiliar with both the talents involved prior to going, but, like, it was brutal. It was, like, there were some of the shots in there that, I could feel from the booth. Like, it was a very heavy-hitting match is probably the best way to put it, because, like, it felt like no one was pulling any punches. They really, really showed that they were going to destroy each other for that championship.
Yeah, and it became a personal rivalry really quick, and that's the reason for the pre-match beatdown from the Big Purse, and he took a real bad shot there in the corner there as he got laid right into the ring post, and that kind of showed throughout the match. I was noticing it over on commentary that he was throwing punches and he wasn't really sure where he was throwing them at, and it seemed like that he had lost some of his equilibrium. Like I was even saying on commentary that they probably needed to see if he had a concussion, to have the matches, or have the ref just maybe stop the match or something like that. And it was easy to play into because he played that role so well,
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, you're taking a lot of damage to the head. Not every punch you're going to throw is going to be at a target in specific. It's just going to be like, where is this person that keeps hitting me? I'm going to make sure they get off of me. And it really showed. It was a bit disconcerting there. But if you pulled through whatever it was, I don't believe it wound up being anything like serious, so I'm glad for that. But yeah, it was just a very solid, very hard-hitting
brawler-style match.
Brawler, that's the word I'm looking for. I didn't want to say punchy dudes. Rock'em Sock'em Robot. It was, and like I said, it was a different change of pace from the stuff that we had seen earlier, because, with this being a new wave and a new era of like pro wrestling in the indies, there's a lot of, unnecessary flippy shit in the world, and this did not have that. This was very old school brawler style fight.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I liked about it, man. It was really good, different paces of the night. Now, a sleeper that I felt like was going to be a sleeper, and it ended up delivering just as much as I thought it would be. Colt Storm, as seen on 205 Live, made an appearance there. Went up against Sage Phillips, and this was special because it was another promotion letting New Wave defend their championship there on their turf, and that was the Mississippi Ego Heavyweight Championship, and that match was. I mean, I know how I felt about it. I'll just say this. I'll just say how I felt about it. I want to know how you feel about it from a fan's perspective.
I enjoyed it. Like I said, I hadn't quite heard whether that title was a New Wave title or not until I got to talk to you after the show.
Yeah, sure.
But that match, again, I don't want to just sound like I'm just putting all this shit over just because, I know a lot of guys in the promotion, but like I'd seen Colt before on 205 Live, but that was the only exposure I've had to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another solid match, and it's kind of hard for me to really shit on anything that happened in it. Like there was maybe one or two things that didn't quite connect the way they probably should have, but you're going to have that regardless. But
that's just the indies.
Exactly. Hell, even on television, you're going to have that.
Facts.
Yeah, no, absolutely solid. And like I said, this is one of those things where no one's pulling any punches. They're going for it, and the stuff that some of those guys can do, just the pure athleticism, it will never stop amazing me. As someone who can't jump more than 3 inches off the ground, it's impressive. It's impressive.
Oh, man. New Wave is doing it, man. New Wave is really, really doing it. They're making all the right moves, got all the right minds. And once again, guys, I mean, I'm not just saying it. I'm not. It's just, I challenge you to, if you're a fan of wrestling, if you like wrestling, if you're anywhere near the Terre Haute area, anywhere near that Midwestern area, come out to one of these shows and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's really good. Like, it's something I'm happy to be a part of, or something I'm proud to be a part of, because Docs, it's a quality brand that is only going to get better moving forward.
Exactly. And anything that people can nitpick on, they are already actively working on making better. Like, there was a couple, production things that didn't quite necessarily go the way they were supposed to.
That's the indies.
Yep. But, like, they're already, because, like I said, they asked for opinions after the show, and, like, I brought up, the Tron, having technical issues and stuff, and he's just like, yeah, we've already been looking at a new computer, one that's going to not overheat, and we're also planning on doing other stuff to make it more grandiose than it already is, and the fact that they are aware and actively improving on it, it shows. Like, if you have any real complaints after leaving a New Wave show, then you're just a miserable person looking for something to bitch about. Like, there is, and we've said it a million times, and I'll never stop saying it because it'll always be important. We're not just saying this, and like I know it's going to be real easy for it to be like, well, Docs, your boy's on commentary, so obviously you're gonna be putting over the show, or like you're friends with a lot of the people backstage, so you're gonna be putting over the show. No, it's not like that. Like, I've had friends that have worked really shitty shows, and they're the kind of things we can't talk about on the podcast. But like, it's because we don't want to be negative in a public format. But we'd be happy to tell them that something was wrong if something was wrong.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. And man, like I said, I enjoy so much being a part of this and seeing what it's grown into. Guys, you definitely want to check out New Wave Pro. Moving forward, next up is going to be Inception, and that is April 4th back at the Armory. And guys, you're going to see a lot of stories weaved and put back and forth. It's gonna be great. I promise you guys it's gonna be great, because every single time it's improved, stepped up, gotten better, just everything all around. The quality, I'm telling you, 2021 New Wave Pro is going to be in a whole lot of people's mouths, and I promise you that. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and call this part one, call this a great episode, and end it here. Docs came on, and of course I got to give Docs his opportunity to plug anything that he wants to plug, social medias and whatnot, his upcoming appearances. I believe you have one coming up on the 28th at DCCW, coming back on commentary, but I'll let you talk about that, man. Go ahead and plug it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Riddle Club, and the Punctuation Nation, it's your boy, the outcast of the podcast, Docs. And if you want, you can follow me on social media, facebook.com/PrinceParadoxOfficial. On Twitter, I'm at Docs on the Rocks. That's DOX on the ROX. And as far as appearances go, I don't know if I've got something coming on the 28th at DCCW, because last I heard I was still suspended. But we'll figure that out when everything comes.
Well, that's a little tense.
Someone had to put a knife in that wound. Thank you, Con. But who knows? Who knows? I've crashed parties before. I might crash another one. You'll just have to show up and find out for yourself. Aside from that, I just really want you guys to check out New Wave. Like, it is a brand that you should be getting on board with before you become one of those people who jump on too late. And there's really no such thing as too late, but don't you want to be someone who's like, I remember when? Exactly. So check out New Wave. They're on social media. You can check them out. And yeah, that's about really it. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Awesome, guys. This was another great episode here. Just wanted to put something out here for you guys. Something just to let you guys know how great New Wave was. And we got some more. This was only part one, guys. We're going to give you more of that work. So let me let you guys know where you guys can listen to this at. You guys can listen to this at Apple Podcast, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Himalaya. Hey, you don't have an Apple device? That's all right. We're on Google Play. Anywhere that you guys are, we can get to you. Check your boy out. Coming up at the debut of Complex, you know that your boy is on commentary in Spencer, Indiana, ready to give him that work. Then, moving right along, next up, I will be at New Wave Pro again, Inception, April 4th. Sooner than that, though, is going to be Upstart Pro, and that is Pandora's Box, guys. What are you doing? Buy a freaking shirt. That's www.prowrestlingtees.com/in-your-house. Get this work. Get this shirt. And guys, I tell you this all the time. Hop on this bandwagon. Get on or get gone. Because the household, well, we still going mighty strong. You guys have a great day and a great rest of your week. Peace.